Hi, this is Dina with Pretty Productive. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining me. Today what I'm going to be doing is setting up my 2021 budget. And I just wanted to first of all thank you all for coming along with this journey through this rough and rocky 2020. And if you're new here to my channel, I just want to give a little bit of background because I always start off like we've been together this whole year and we've really added a lot of subscribers in the last couple of months. So I just want to take a moment and just give a little bit of an introduction of who I am and what I do and things like that. So I started this channel at the end of 2019. My daughter and I decided to start an Etsy shop together as a passion project, and she had moved out of the house, and you know, I wanted something that kind of we could work on together and still have something that, you know, would force her to come home at least once a week or once every couple of weeks. And so I have always loved budgeting, stickers, anything like that. If it's pretty, I'm more likely to do it, whether it be my planner or my budget. For her, she's very creative. You know, she does all of the different apps, she draws, she's very much a creative soul. She loves to create art, doesn't really want to deal with the details of, you know, running a shop and fulfilling orders, but if I need her to do something creatively, she's amazing at it. So we decided to combine our two strengths and create Pretty Productive. It's been a huge learning process for me as well as for her throughout this year. We are very different in the way we do things, which is always interesting, but I have loved doing this with her, you know, over this last year. My current situation is I am married to the same guy for the last 33 years. In 2022, it'll be our 35th wedding anniversary, which is exciting. And I currently just wrapped up a 28-year career in the cosmetic industry. I did many jobs within the industry, account executive, corporate trainer, and my last position in the national accounts team. And I accepted an early retirement in the end of November. So I am currently retired for right now. I did leave with both a severance package as well as my retirement and a 401k. My husband retired from law enforcement in the end of 2018. So he has a pension and everything from his job, his career path, and then he went back to work 3 weeks after retiring. So the way I budget, I have been budgeting for his retirement for 2 years. So for 2018 and 2019, I budgeted what I thought we were going to have in retirement. His retirement, not my retirement, his retirement. So anything above and beyond what I thought his check was going to be in retirement, I put into savings, or we paid off debt, and we have everything at this point paid off except for our house, and I am escalating that as fast as I can. Fast forward to the end of 2020 and this madness of this year, I had not planned to retire early. I really just took a chance and said, I really want to be happy and we'll make it work, and he was very supportive of that. So in setting up my 2021 budget, somewhat easy because I will have severance and he's still working and he was able to pick up the benefits. But how long he's going to continue to work or if I go back to work is really the unknown. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to walk you through and then how I set it up. And this is the way I've set it up in the past as well. And then I'll turn the camera off, set it up in my budget planner, which is the 7x9 monthly deluxe from Erin Condren. I've used this format for 4 years now, and I love the way it works out. I'm also going to be using a new yearly kit. I do sell these in my shop, and one of the things that I always have to reach out to a customer on is you can completely customize your budget categories as well as your line item budget. So I think when I added this up, there's 77 different categories that you can put on here. So you can completely customize it to whatever your bills are, whatever your savings goals are, you know, anything like that, because, you know, a budget is only as good as you can customize it. So I just wanted to note that, because I always reach back out just to have them tell me what they want as far as their customization. And then there's thin washi. The kit comes with 2 different thin washies. Thick washi, I did make 2 different ones because I couldn't decide. And then these are the thin strips that kind of make your lines, and then these are the headers that go across. So I made 1 kit, and then this is another time that my daughter and I did not agree. I made a second one that had a different color choice. So the second color choice, I probably didn't need to make 2, but I did. So the second color choice is more in the pink and yellow family. So these are the budget headers, the lines, the thick washi, an alternative thick washi, and then the thin washies. And then these are the same budget categories, just in the font Carolina. The font that I'm going to be using this year, that I used last year, is called Poppins. But you can have these printed in whatever font we have in our shop. Apricots is probably our most popular. We also brought Jen Plans in, which is a very printed, very minimalistic font, as well as Poppins is a very minimalistic font. So totally up to you. And so before I ever get to lay the pretty stuff down, I've got to figure out how I'm going to set up my budget. So how I did 2020 is the way I'm going to set up 2021, because it worked really well for me. So I just have this kind of grid. This is so old, I have no idea. But it has the months across the top, and then on the side I put my categories. So I went through and pulled my electric bill, what my electric bill was for January through December by month, so that when I'm setting up my budget, I already know that July, August, September are much higher than what January, February, March was. I live in Arizona, so of course our budget during, you know, our electricity bill during the summer goes up much higher. For water, kind of the same thing. We have a pool, so during the summertime it tends to go higher because we're cleaning the pool a lot. Natural gas goes really cheap in the summer, and it goes up in the winter time because a lot of our appliances run on natural gas. We've kind of been converting over. Our phone bill is kind of a unique thing because I do have my daughters on our plan. I have been reimbursed $110, so I've covered the data part of the plan. So we've already had this conversation with the girls to say, you know, your bill is going up because our bill went up. And then things like life insurance, car insurance. Car insurance is going to change. I did have a company car. I'm in the process of saving to buy a car, so there will be another vehicle on that, but currently our girls are still on that. We're probably going to have them get on their own policies so that that number kind of stays right around the same amount. And then lifestyle averages to be about $2,200. So lifestyle is all my cash envelopes, clothing, entertainment, things like that. Birthdays, I have a big family. So what we've decided to do to make everybody's budgets a little bit more friendly is that if the person that has a birthday is under 21, they still get a gift. And if they're over 21, they get a card. And then what we were doing pre-COVID was getting together once a month and celebrating all the birthdays that happened in that month. So there is not a month that I don't have a birthday in my family. So it's a big family. So I average, so like for an example, in January, I have 2 birthdays. Ruby and Kenzie are both under 21. I think Ruby will be 4 and Kenzie will be 6. So I budget $35 per, so that's $70. And the $35 would be the card, the packaging, and the gift. So if I go to the dollar store and get them a card there and a bag there, then I can put a little bit more money in their gift. And then for like my son-in-law, my daughters, my husband, I do budget closer to 300. My sisters and parents, I budget closer to 100. And then, you know, anniversaries, things like that. So at the total of the year, and Christmas, I always budget 3,000, and that includes everything to do with Christmas. Stockings, gifts, baking, work, you know, gifts, neighbor gifts, everything goes into that pie. So that's, I always say 3,000. I usually have a little bit of money left over, but I would rather start the year with a little bit of a cushion than have debt in January. So it's basically $4,900. And then I do a subcategory of in gifting, which I call everything else. So baby showers, wedding gifts, anything like that. And I put 600. And so I average that to be $458 a month. So I need to be putting into this account $460 a month, so that by the time December rolls up, I'm not trying to escalate that payment to get the 3,000 in. So it's easier. Now I know throughout this time that I'm going to put money in and money's going to come out, but it kind of as it goes in. So the months where I have one little birthday, $35, I know I'm going to be adding extra in that way. So this has worked out for me, and then I can always take a look at it mid-year and say, okay, I need to step it up, or I'm doing fine on the method that I'm going. And then I have subscriptions, and then so my total outgoing, you know, which everything with funding my birthday account, you know, all of my lifestyle, my fixed expenses, is $7,566. Now we are escalating our house payment to $3,400. That's taking 2 years off of the mortgage. So basically our house will be paid off within 5 years, if not sooner. So I had originally targeted to pay that off before I retired at 65. That's obviously not when I retired. So we are looking to even escalate that a little bit more. So that is what I do first before I ever go to my planner and set it up. And then I also am doing something that I have never done before, and that's a savings challenge for 2021. And so 2022 will be my husband's and my 35th wedding anniversary. So I do want to do like a big trip, and hopefully by then the world's kind of right-sided a little bit. I'm never going to say we're going to go back to normal, but we will be able to go to Europe or go on a cruise or something. So I went on Pinterest and I found a $5,000 yearly challenge, how to save $5,000 in a year. So I bought this little binder. It's a Recollections one at Michael's. It was in the clearance rack. It's a little scuffed up, but didn't really matter. And then I bought these zippered envelopes from Amazon. And then I just made out of vinyl the stickers for each month so that I knew what month it was. And then I took the register that we sell with our envelopes, that we give with our envelopes. I printed it in pink so I could see it a little bit better. And then I wrote in the goal of what I need to save each month, each week, to at the end of 52 weeks have the $5,000. Now, for an average, so January is $210, and it breaks out to $25 for the first week, $45 for the second, $65 and $75. So the way I think I'm going to do this is I'm going to take the money out when I stuff my cash envelopes for the first 2 weeks of the month. My goal will be for the third week, or at least the fourth week, I save enough out of my envelopes that I can pay the balance off instead of taking the whole amount, the whole $210 out of my account, because it's just going to come right out of my sinking fund. So I'd rather be more of a challenge where I save out of my envelopes as much of that money and then put it in here versus just pull that out of my account, because to me that's not really a challenge. That's just another line item for your budget. So it goes all the way through the year. There are some months that are more than others, and then it kind of comes back down again. Now I already know the month of July is a super expensive month for me. We have a lot of birthdays, And the goal is one of the highest for July is $555. So I already know that I'm probably going to have to budget that in versus take a lot out of my cash envelopes. I think my cash envelopes are going to be pretty much exhausted. And then in August, it goes back down again. So that is the way I'm going to be doing it. I would love for whoever wants to play along. That would be very motivating for me and keep me on track. You don't need to do 5,000. You could do 1,000 or 2,000 or 2,500 or whatever you want to do as your savings goals. On Pinterest, they had every single one of them broken down. You know, $10,000, $20,000. I'm like, yeah, no, a little too aggressive for my budget. So this is my budget, my savings challenge that I'm going to be doing for the month, for the year of 2021. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to go ahead and set up this. And what I do is I always order some extra pages in the back of here for my budget, for my yearly budget. And that way I can take notes and things like that. So the way I'll be setting it up, the very first page will be my total budget. This side will be my financial goals. So one will be the 2021 savings challenge. 2 will be to buy a car and then create sinking funds, like for car maintenance, car tags. So that all my financial goals, how many no spend days I want to do. I really handle my shop totally separate because it really, you know, at this point it kind of pays for itself. But, you know, if I don't really work the shop, then I may take out of my personal budget to pay for things. I do have an Etsy sinking fund for equipment and things like that. Like if I need to buy a new cutter or a new foiler or anything like that. So my total budget will go here. So these 2 pages will be my fixed expenses by month. And so as, you know, when I'm setting up my budget, I look in here to say, okay, well, last year my electric bill was $355, so I'm going to estimate it's going to be very similar, and that's what I budget for. And then at the end of the month, or when the bill comes in, then I change that to what the actual spend was, and then reallocate those funds. This page is going to be lifestyle, which is cash envelopes, subscriptions, anything like that. This page is sinking funds, and sinking funds are one of my favorite things. I am not a saver by nature. My husband is, thank God. I am not. I'm a spender. I love to spend money. I'm very much an emotional spender. So as those of you who have followed along for a while know, I have a huge sticker addiction. So sinking funds is where I plan out what I can save, and I really love having that money set aside so that I don't ever have the urge to spend on a credit card. Now I do use a Capital One card, as well as my Capital One savings accounts hold my sinking funds. I don't keep them in cash like a lot of budgeters do because I want them in the bank. Capital One was the best interest I had, and if I use my card for something that is a sinking fund, then I just transfer the money from my savings account into the bank, onto the credit card. So my goal in life is to go to the bank as few times a month as possible. So when I set up when I do my weekly check-in, you'll kind of see how I handle money that should have been a cash envelope that went on my card. So this will be sinking funds. This will be gifts and Christmas. So this information that I wrote right here is where I estimate what my Christmas and things like that is going to be. And then I skipped a few pages, and then this will be shop related. So currently I'm keeping all my shop information in a different area. I think I'm going to move it into here just because, you know, sometimes it commingles with my budget. So I think it should go in here, but I'm not sure yet. I kind of like my other system too. So we'll see how that goes. So I am going to turn the camera off, lay down the stickers, and then walk you through what the budget looks like all set up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It's really been about 4 hours. I had other things come up in between. So I just kind of want to walk you through my setup. I still have a few more things I need to print because the way I set up sinking funds was a little different, so I needed more pages than I had originally anticipated. So so I wanted to start here. This is the front calendar, which is the 2020-2021 tab, where it has all the calendars laid out. Now I may take something and cover this part because this is July through December of 2020, which I obviously don't need, but I might just leave it alone too. So my coding is this kind of brown transparent circle, and these were from GP Studios, I believe it was, is when my HOA is due. It's always the first of the month and it's quarterly. And then pest control is this gray color, and it's quarterly as well, and it's in, usually comes in about the 12th. And then birthdays actually needed 2 different color dots. So I have this darker brown color as well as this lighter kind of coffee color. I don't know if you can see that. So I have birthdays continued, and then this octagon is holidays. So the way I mark holidays is if I'm going to spend money on the holiday, then I mark it. So for an example, I always do a Memorial Day barbecue, so I marked Memorial Day. I tend not to do anything for 4th of July, but I went ahead and marked it because normally, you know, it's so hot here and I try to not be here in that time of, but you know, now that I'm not working, I probably will be here. Halloween, just buying candy and costumes if we need to. Christmas, obviously, Thanksgiving. I didn't mark things that, even though they're holidays, I don't think I would be spending money on them. But looking at this, pretty much all of them, I'm going to say yes. So Valentine's Day, Easter, nothing in June. So that's just my coding, and that's just a way for me when I look at the month, when I start to lay out January, I'll look, and I do have 2 birthdays as well as the HOA that will be due in January, and then in February I have 2 events I would be spending money on, Valentine's Day and my anniversary. And then I also have 2 birthdays. No, I'm sorry, 1 birthday and 1 pest control. So, and then of course, when you look at March, July has a lot of birthdays, September's has a lot of birthdays. So I know those months already are going to be a little bit heavy. And then when you look at something like December, just Christmas, I don't have a lot of other things going on. So that's how I lay out this page. And I did this last year as well, and it was just a good visual reminder. I do like the transparent dots and octagons because the other dots I had actually covered the date. So I had to kind of look at the dates around it to figure out what date that was. And then this part, which normally had the months on it, but for the 2021, they do not. I went ahead and printed each month, and then I foiled them with rose gold. And this is my daughter's handwritten dates that months that are in the shop now. I just made them a lot smaller. You can make, you know, have them bigger or smaller, whatever. And I just made them smaller. This is a GP Studio label, and I just labeled each month, and then I put 3 flags down for the first 2 months. So it would be what I'm budgeting for birthdays, what I'm budgeting for holidays, what I'm budgeting if I have either HOA or something like that. So it's just a quicker snapshot. So the amounts that I had put on this, which I originally was going to give a page to and then decided not to. So for an example, birthdays in the month of January, it will say $70 because I have 2 birthdays. And then in February, it will say $200. And then March will be $35. And then for the second flag might be HOA. And then the third flag would be, you know, anything else I have coming up in the month of January that I know I'm going to be spending money on. For example, my Amazon subscription is due. My Amazon Prime subscription. So I will put a note there. So this is just, again, another snapshot of things I know that maybe when I look at the front page, I'm not necessarily thinking about what dollar it is, but this will help me to set up my budget. So that's what I'm doing on these front pages. So then when I got to the back, and I set this up very differently than last year, so I kind of struggled a little bit with how many things I had printed that I needed to have printed, so I know now what I should have had. So this first page is going to be my money goals. So my money goals will be things like so much into the savings challenge. It may be how many no spend days I want to do for the month. It could be something like saving for vacation. So any of the money goals that I do on a monthly basis will be laid out here. And then my yearly budget setup, which I got from this sheet over here. And that's just that, you know, my HOA total year is $876. If I want to put it away monthly, which is what I currently do, I put $73 away every month. And then that way, when it's due quarterly, I'm not coming up with $219. I've already put to $73 a month away for that. Same with pest control, it's $360 a year. I put $30 a month away, and then when the bill is due, it's $90. I will already have that money in. So these are just the big categories, things that I know no matter what I'm gonna have, like electricity, phone, life insurance, things like that. And I left plenty of room to add categories as well. And then this was my most used spread for 2020. So I have all of my categories from my fixed expenses and then what I spent by month in 2020. So it really does help me when I'm laying out my budget to not have to go on the app for, say, my electric company and see what did I spend in April of 2020. I have it written down. So I just look in the back of the book and that's my starting point. Now, things may change. This year we had 3 of us working from home. I had my daughter here part of the year. Next year she won't be here. So, you know, different things are changing. So it's just a starting point. And it's been pretty true for 2020 when I look back at my 2019 bills. And then this will be, and this is something I didn't track last year, but I really want to this year, because while groceries tend to be pretty consistent, I am going to be tracking this year what I have extra so I can put it towards my savings challenge or where I went over. So sometimes I miss that it's a 5-week month and I only budget for 4 weeks. When my daughter moved back home, I didn't increase my eating out budget, even though our eating out category went way up because we were feeding another person when we would grab food. So I have been out of money in that category every single week since she moved back home in October. Entertainment, you know, right now we're not spending any money, but hopefully that changes. One thing that I really struggled with, I laid down these center ones before I laid down these, and so I had to cut them all. So tip, if you are planning to use something like this, lay down all your strips first and then put your washi on top, much easier. I was going to give a whole section to the savings challenge, but because I am monitoring and kind of recapping it in here by week, I decided to just go ahead and leave it here. So here's my savings challenge. It's under each month, and then I did 1 through 5 as far as weeks. So most weeks it will be just 4 weeks, and then some weeks I'll have to put the 5th week in here. So that's kind of how I'm tracking the savings challenge. And then subscriptions are, I have 3, Amazon Prime, which is due in January, and then Audible and Elements. So this is going to be the holder of the challenge as well as my tracking, but I did also want to have it tracked in here. So this is the part that got a little tricky, because when I went back and looked, I didn't really track sinking funds in the back part. I only tracked sinking funds in the actual month. So I did want one place that I could see at the end of the year everything that went in and out of those accounts, and what, you know, what I need to increase, what I can decrease, what I can stop funding, what needs to continue to be funded. So when I look through like other videos, a lot of times they'll give an entire page to sinking funds where they write out every single one, and so you would have 12 pages. And I didn't really want to do that because I don't have that many sinking funds. I feel like I have a lot, but so I went ahead and wrote down all the ones I would have. Now I can quickly remove the sticker there removable mat. I can just pull that off and put another one on or write in something. And then, of course, I only use erasable pencil in any of my budget things because plans change. And then I went ahead and labeled it with the stickers for each month. And I just made them 1.5 across, which is kind of this size, and then no higher than like 1.1, because this is like 1.5, because this is 0.24. That makes it 0.15 and this is 0.24. So I wanted to make sure they fit within here if I wanted to put them there, but I ended up putting them on the side. So this is the way sinking funds are going to lay out. So I have January, February, and March already printed and in here. And then I've laid out May through August, and then September through December. So I still need to print like additional things to finish this out. And then I went ahead and then put in Etsy here. So the things that I had originally planned to dedicate an entire page to, like Christmas and Savings Challenge, I decided to go ahead and incorporate it into another page. For example, instead of giving Savings Challenge an entire spread, I gave it here, because really that's all I need is to track it by week, by month. So that one here. And then Christmas and gifts, it is a sinking fund, and I think I'll keep it that way. But what I might also do, because I did estimate by month, and I think I want to like that, I think under fixed expenses I will have a line item for gifting, and then I'll plug in what I think I'm going to spend each month, so that when I am calculating my sinking funds, I know, say, okay, so July's a big birthday month, I think I'm going to spend 500. I'll write 500 in there so I can just make sure that I'm funding those accounts properly. So that is how I'm going to set up these back pages. I did really like this from last year, but I did want to maybe go a little bit deeper this year, because last year was really the first year that I used the back of the planner at all. So we'll see how it is this year. And then so Etsy's already done. So that is my plan for 2021. Again, I always start with this first, just to lay it all out so I can kind of see where I have opportunity. Like I estimated a lifestyle at $2,200, because that's about what I budget for. But again, this is a category that could be cut down if necessary. This part is pretty fixed. I don't think, you know, there's a lot of wiggle room there. Definitely subscriptions could go away if money got tight. Birthdays could definitely come down. And then when you look at things like sinking funds, you know, you definitely could pick your battles in sinking funds. If, you know, if you didn't have the extra money to put into sinking funds, you can kind of prioritize based on what's coming up next and what money is already in the account versus what you need it for. So that is my 2021 setup. I think I'm going to make some additional changes to the kits, because I found that, you know, some things were, you know, too much and other things not enough. I may take and separate, like have the kit, but then I may have a separate kit for sinking funds, a separate one for debt snowball, for cash envelopes, just so that if you don't particularly care if you track your sinking funds, but you would need extra of for your cash envelopes or something like that, then I can adjust the kit for that. So I really want it to be as customizable as necessary. So please just ask either in the notes to seller or reach out on Etsy and ask if I can do something. I'm more than happy to make it work however works best for your budget. So this is just how I laid out my budget. Doesn't mean that that's how you would like to lay out your budget. So thank you so much for watching. Please ask any questions down below in the comments. I have been really good about checking on them. And I wish you all a great start to 2021. I know that life isn't going to change on January 1st and we're not going to be out of COVID and all this, but I just feel like it's just nice to have some hope and some kind of fresh new beginnings. So that's what I love about the new year. So have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Take care. Bye.